Inna alhamdulillah wa salat wa salam ala wa rasulullah. We're continuing with our topic of the signs of the last hour. And what are we speaking about? We're speaking about what is known as the apocalypse. The apocalypse. And what are we speaking about when we're speaking about the apocalypse? We're speaking about the end of the world, the destruction of the world. In this case, as defined by the Quran and the Hadith. Things that Allah has shared with the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, who in turn share with us trials and tribulations and events that will occur as part of the final destruction of the world. So all these things that we're speaking about today and that we spoke about so far are part of the apocalypse. It's already happening. We are already experiencing, we are already living in the apocalypse. Okay? We are already experiencing these things. For example, let's get started. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, there are 5 things that a person may live to see. And God forbid that you live to see them. Because these 5 things are part of the apocalypse. They're part of the final destruction of the world. And one of those 5 things is fornication. If you live to see fornication become widespread. He said, if you should live to see fornication become widespread, then you should realize that whenever this happens, that it brings about new diseases. Diseases which the people have never encountered before. And this is already happening. Fornication is a part of life. In fact, people don't think marriage is even normal anymore. And look what we have. We have all kind of diseases besides AIDS and herpes. There's all kind of other diseases out there. Also, another of the 5 things that's a part of the apocalypse. He said, if you should live to see people cheat one another when it comes to weighing out goods or money, realize whenever people cheat one another and when it comes to their finances, this will result in Allah sending drought and famine to the land. And it will also result in their rulers oppressing them. Is this happening now? Yes, it is. This is already happening. We are living in the apocalypse already. Look at the drought. Look at the famine that the world experiences all the time. Even where I live right now, we're going through a famine here. A drought here. Look at the oppressive rulers. Look at what's going on in Syria. Look at what's going on in Afghanistan. Look at what's going on here in America. Okay, look what's going on in Europe. Our leaders, our rulers are oppressing the people, making life hard upon the citizens of these countries. So this is all part of the apocalypse. It's already happening. And also another one of the 5 things the prophet said that God forbid you should live to see is if people start withholding their charity. When people start withholding their charity, realize that whenever this happens, it will result in Allah refusing to send the rain down. And the only reason why it would rain is because of the animals. Because Allah takes mercy on those animals. And again, this is happening where I live. We're going through a little drought in a little part where I live here in America. Farmers are complaining because they don't have enough rain. So again, these are things that the Quran mentions, that the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam has mentioned to us as part of the apocalypse. Fornication being widespread. People cheating one another when it comes to their money and financial gains. People not giving in charity to help one another. And also another one, the 4th one is people breaking their trust, their promises. Their promise to Allah, their trust with Allah. Most people don't even believe in God anymore. Subhanallah. More or less live up to an honor or trust with Him. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, whenever the people break their trust with Allah, realize that Allah will send an army, an enemy, to take them and take their possessions by force. There you go. Now do you guys understand why we have the war in Syria? Why we have the war in Afghanistan? Why the Palestinians are fighting? Why is all this happening? Because we've broke our trust with Allah. We Muslims, we've done the same thing that the Christians and Jews did. The Christians used to be the chosen people. The Jews used to be the chosen people. They broke their trust with Allah. Well, look at us Muslims. We are now the chosen people, but are we practicing true Islam? No. We've deviated away from true Islam. Are we following the example of the Prophet Muhammad with the understanding of his companions? No. We are using the understanding of the men who we think are scholars of today. So whenever we break our trust with Allah, whenever we stop fulfilling our obligations, what is the trust with Allah? We're supposed to have allegiance to Him and allegiance to the Prophet Muhammad. You look on Facebook, you see where the Muslims' allegiance is. Our allegiance is to Palestine. Our allegiance is to Syria. Our allegiance is to Egypt. Our allegiance is to the black man, the black race. Our allegiance is to the Bosnian race. No, your allegiance is not supposed to be to a country, to a group of people, or a race. It's supposed to be to Allah and His Prophet and all the Muslims in the world, no matter who or what they are. You have broken your trust. You have no allegiance to Allah. What did the Prophet say? Anyone who has allegiance to something other than Allah and His Messenger and the Muslims is not one of us. Subhanallah. And this is not even mentioning the fact that we don't pray anymore. We're not wearing hijab. Men are not providing for their families like they're supposed to. We're deviating away from Allah's laws, Allah's rules. So whenever we break that trust with Allah, with the Prophet, and with ourselves, understand Allah will send an enemy against you to take possession of that land you love so much. You love Palestine so much, that's why you don't have it. You love Syria so much, that's why you don't have it. You so proud to be an Egyptian, hello, goodbye. Again, when we look at what's happening in the world today, it makes sense to those of us who understand. What does Allah say in the Quran? Only those who understand truly believe. It makes me so angry to see Muslims putting up flags of Palestine, flags of Syria, flags of this, or stuff about the black man, what the black man went through with slavery and all. I'm sorry. Our allegiance is supposed to be to Allah, His Messenger, and the Muslims of the world, wherever they are, not to no land. The land belongs to Allah. It doesn't belong to you. The black man is no better than a white man. An Egyptian is no better than a Roman. Come on, guys. Get over this tribalism, this racism. And get your allegiance right with Allah, and then maybe He'll give you back Palestine. He'll give you back Syria. He'll make you no longer be oppressed. Also, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, if you live to see the leaders of your country not governing according to the book of Allah, then realize that whenever this happens, Allah will make them into groups and make them fight one another again. Why is it the war, Iraq versus Kuwait? Why are the Muslim nations fighting and killing each other? Because the leaders of these countries are not ruling according to the Quran. They're ruling based on their own laws, their own rules. So this is why Allah has divided us, made us hate each other, fight each other. All for that oil, or all for whatever, the money, whatever. Again, if you learn the deen the correct way, then what's happening in the world would not surprise you. You will understand this is all part of the apocalypse. We are living in the apocalypse. We are living in the final days right now. The destruction of the world is happening bit by bit right now, and we're just a part of it. The question is, what are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing to get through it? Are you taking heed of the signs of Allah and trying to better yourself and take the advice the Prophet gave us to do when we see these things happening? Or are you becoming emotionally riled, posting up flags and garbage on your Facebook page to bring about anger and hatred and help sow the seeds of discord? SubhanAllah. Part of the apocalypse. Also in another hadith, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, if my nation bears 15 characteristics, understand that there will be many trials and tribulations to befall them. He said, when any gain is shared out only to the rich with no benefit to the poor. Does this happen? Yes, this is already happening, especially in Muslim countries. Look at the Muslim countries. The only people benefiting are the rich. The poor are becoming poor. This is why Allah is sending so many tragedies to Pakistan. This is why Allah is sending so much hardship to the Muslim world, to Morocco, to Egypt, Saudi even, okay, Syria, Iraq, Iran. When any gain is shared only amongst the rich without benefiting the poor. A lot of people say, why is it that Kuwait is such a nice country right now? Everybody loves Kuwait. I do. I wish I lived there. Let me tell you something about that. The government of Kuwait, he takes care of his people. The Kuwaiti people are very well provided for. You're not going to find any poor people in Kuwait. Maybe that's why he's spared of that calamity right now. He wasn't before the war against Iraq. When Saddam invaded, that was different. Maybe they learned. They learned their lesson. Look at how Kuwait takes care of his people now. Small country, but he takes care of his people. Also in another hadith, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, when a trust becomes a means of making a profit, understand tribulations will befall. We don't even keep our trust anymore. We lie, we cheat, we squander. So we wonder why there's so much war. Also, when paying zakat becomes a burden, look how many people try to get out of paying zakat. It's a burden for you. And you wonder why where you live is going through such trial and tribulation. And you are going through trial and tribulation personally as well. Also, when a man obeys his wife and disobeys his mother and treats his friend kindly while shunning his father, oh my God, this is a big problem. It's already happening today. Look how many men treat their mothers like dirt because their wife don't like her. I'm sure you all experiencing that in your families. Your sister-in-law's running the show. Your sister-in-law dictating, you know, how much money your husband can give to her husband, your brother can give to your mother. A man disrespecting his mom because his wife didn't like the way she spoke to her. And also treating your father bad. You are more sympathetic and empathetic to your friends than you are to your own father. Well, this is why Allah is sending so many tribulations to us. And also he said when voices are raised in the mosque, he's talking about arguing. Look at how so many Muslims go to the masjid and they end up arguing with each other. So much argumentation. And you're arguing over things that you don't even understand. You're going to argue because a sister comes to the mosque with fingernail polish on. You're going to tell her that astaghfirullah, her prayers are broken, her wudu is broken because she's got on fingernail polish. Where does Allah say fingernail polish breaks a prayer, breaks a wudu, or anything else? Shame on you people. And you're going to argue over that? You're going to argue over whether or not you have to raise your hands when you pray? You don't even know what the sunnahs of the prayer are and what the pillars of the prayer are, but you're going to fight and argue over that. These are the signs of the last hour. These are signs of the apocalypse. We are living the apocalypse. It's already happening. And also, when the leaders are the worst of the people, oh, astaghfirullah, this is everywhere. The worst of the people are the leaders. And also when people treat a man with respect because they are afraid that he might hurt them. Here's a man that you know is a horrible person. He's mean, he's cruel, but you respect him because you don't want him to be mean towards you. These are all parts of the apocalypse. This is why Allah is sending so much hardship to us. This is why Muslims around the world are suffering. Because we are already experiencing this. Also, when wine is drunk, subhanAllah, look on TV, Muslim countries. Look at Dubai. They serve wine right there in Dubai, along with the horse racing and gambling and everything else. Also, when men wear silk. Look how many Muslim brothers got on their little silk suits. When female singers and musical instruments are popular, you guys love these female singers. We got some Arabic Muslim female singers too. When the last ones of this nation curse the first ones. Oh my God, this is a big one. There's a lot of Muslims out there who sit around talking about the companions in a bad way. You talk about Abu Sufyan in a bad way. You talk about Muawiyah in a bad way. You talk about Umar, Aisha in a bad way. When all these things happen, then let the people expect a red wind or the earth to swallow them, or expect to be transformed into animals, and this is already happening. Look how many earthquakes, the earth to swallow, these are earthquakes. Red wind, these are tornadoes, hurricanes, tsunamis. People being transformed into animals. People being born with 3 legs, 2 fingers, a clawed hand. Look at the wolf syndrome with hair all over their bodies like a wolf. This is already happening, guys. This is why Allah is sending these punishments to us, because we have violated the trust with Him. And we're doing these actions that we shouldn't be doing. Again, when you look around and see what's happening in the world, it makes sense to those of us who understand. Also in another hadith, the Prophet ﷺ said, the last hour will come when leaders are oppressors, when people believe in the stars and reject the decree of Allah, and when a trust becomes a way of making money, and when people give to charity not wanting to do so, and when adultery becomes widespread. When these things happen, then your people will perish. And again, all of this is already happening. This is part of the apocalypse. We're living it. Look at the leaders of the world, so oppressive. People, instead of people believing in Allah's decree, they're turning to astrology. They're turning to the tarot card reader. They're turning to the psychic network to help them. And people only go into agreements just, to make money, and they break them. People don't want to help each other. You rather give your money to a shelter for kafirs rather than help a Muslim who is in need. And adultery is off the hook. Everybody's committing adultery darn near. SubhanAllah. This is why we're perishing. Also in another hadith, the Prophet ﷺ said, some people of this nation will be swallowed up by the earth, and some will be transformed into animals, and some will be bombarded with stones. He said this will occur when singers and musical instruments will become popular, and there will be wine popular amongst the people, especially in the Muslim countries. Muslim countries like their music and singers and wine and all that. Go to Abu Dhabi and Dubai and that part of the world, and oh my God, have a good time. The non-Muslims love Dubai and that part of the world. Not just there, but all over the world. Lebanon, oh my God. Lebanese singers and drink and All of this. This is why Allah is sending earthquakes. This is why Allah is sending tsunamis to these parts of the world. This is why people are being born with animal features and all that. So thus, guys, as you can see, the apocalypse is already here. We are presently living in the apocalypse. And the apocalypse refers to the final destruction of the world. We're living that already. Okay? But how should we act? What we should do is look at the signs that are existing. Ponder them. And if you truly believe in Allah, it will make your faith increase. And then tomorrow, what I'm going to do, we're going to speak about what the Prophet told us to do when these things are happening. How should we behave? Should I get on Facebook and panic and post up stuff? How did our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam teach us to behave when we see these signs occurring? That's what we're going to speak about tomorrow. So we'll stop right here for today. If you guys have any questions or comments, inshallah, you can type them on the screen. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika, ashhadu an la ilaha